right, so what is life like in Arizona? Well, I'm going to kind of give you a recap of our backstory if you haven't watched my previous videos. So my partner and I, Alex, moved from Vancouver, Canada, rainy, gray a lot of the year, just totally opposite from Arizona weather. So we made a big lifestyle change. I had only been to Arizona once. I visited the previous year for a couple weeks and I really liked it. And one of the reasons I'm making this video is when Alex and I decided we wanted to move somewhere else in the world, we watched so many YouTube videos and we love just hearing other people's experiences and seeing their move somewhere else in the world and how it was for them, how they like it. And it just made it easier and gave us a lot of insight. And so hopefully this video will do that for you if you are considering a big move or considering coming to Arizona. So I've got my list here. I wrote down some things that I want to make sure I cover in this video. So I'm just going to dive right in to the pros of living in Arizona because in my experience there are so many positive reasons to move here. There's so many amazing things about living in Arizona, and there are a few not so great things in my opinion. But if you're considering moving somewhere else in the world and you're just feeling like you're ready to leave where you're currently living and you're just so excited to go somewhere else, just keep in mind that no one place is going to have every single thing that you want. I think that's what kind of made it a fun experience for Alex and I, because we knew that already. We came into this experience knowing that, hey, there's probably going to be things that we miss about living in Canada, or there's probably, going to be things that we didn't anticipate about living in Arizona that just aren't our favorite. But, you have to take the bad with the good sometimes, and I think as long as the place that you're moving to covers the main things that you really want to experience in your life and has things that are very, very important to you, then the rest of it just kind of comes along with it. So I'm just going to start with some of the pros. One thing which is huge, and a lot of people are aware of this, is the cost of living in Arizona is a lot lower than where we were living in Vancouver, Canada, and a lot of other places in North America and in the world. So primarily buying a home, the cost of a house or an apartment is drastically lower than it is in Vancouver. Vancouver is so expensive for what you get. Now, I will say that renting is a totally different experience in Arizona than it is in Vancouver. So if you're considering coming here and renting, like in Vancouver, you can just go on Craigslist and find an apartment, send them an email, and they're like, yeah, sounds great, you can rent my place. It can happen within a day or less than a day, and it's a really easy process. Whereas in Arizona, we didn't know that they ask you for references, they ask you for to see your tax returns. They ask you to see all sorts of things that, and we don't have, we weren't coming into America with American credit scores because we're Canadian. So that was another situation that, definitely came up when we first moved here and still. So that was something to consider. Renting was not as easy as we thought it would be, and we were very fortunate to have a very close friend who rented us their home. So it was an easy process. But that's just something to keep in mind. And also the cost of renting is not relative. With how inexpensive it is to buy a house or an apartment, you would think that renting would also be quite a lot less, but it's actually not. It wasn't that much cheaper than it is to rent a place in Vancouver. But if you want to buy a home, then Arizona is much more affordable than so many other places. So that alone is just an awesome benefit. And especially if you own a home somewhere else and you are selling that home to come to Arizona, you'll get a lot more for your money. Or if you're downsizing, you can buy a home with a fraction of the money that you're going to make when you sell your other home and have more money in the bank, which is always nice. And where I live is about 25 minutes outside of the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. So it is in a suburb of Phoenix. I find that where I live in Arizona, it's not very crowded. There's not a ton of traffic compared to some of the other places I've lived, like Toronto and Vancouver. So that aspect I love. Of course, I have to say that the sunshine is amazing. It is sunny, I believe, over 300 days a year. And it's just so nice to just know the next day what you're gonna wear. You don't have to look outside and you don't have to wonder, is it going to pour? Is it going to, you know, be completely gray all day? Is it going to be freezing cold out of the blue? Like, the odds are it's going to be warm and sunny. It's just like, is it going to be warm or is it going to be like crazy, crazy hot? But you already know that you can count on it being warm and sunny for pretty much all of the year, except for a couple months there, like December, January, where you might need like a jacket or a sweater. But it's just nice to just wake up and the sun is there to greet you, and it definitely does affect your mood. After having lived in Vancouver for over 10 years, I definitely did feel the difference. You know, even when I would just have a holiday and I'd have a week or two of pure sunshine somewhere, I would just be like, wow, I feel so different. And you don't realize how like months and months of gray and just so much like darkness and cold and damp, like it can affect your mood. At least for me, it definitely did. So I love having the sunshine. The insane heat, not so much, but the sunshine is beautiful. And when it does rain and you do have that, you know, rare day of the year when it's not really, really sunny and it's a little bit of a more gray day, you actually appreciate it and it kind of feels like a cozy day, and, you know, it's a nice experience because you don't have it all the time. All right, another pro of living in Arizona that I've noticed is that it is close to a lot of other places. There's a lot to do within, you know, a 2-3 hour drive or a 1 to 2 hour flight. And I really, really like that. Where I was in Vancouver, I felt isolated from a lot of the rest of North America because of how west it was. You're literally on the ocean, and you know, my dad, for example, lives in Michigan, and it was just such a long flight, a 3 hour time difference, and I just felt like, for me, like for my life situation anyways, especially if you have family or friends on the East Coast, it was such a journey to get back and forth. And I find just from living in Arizona, I visited so many people more often in this year and a half, and so many more of my family and friends have come to visit me, probably also because it's so sunny and beautiful here. So it's like, where I live happens to be where everyone else wants to vacation. So it's nice because I just get lots of visitors and get lots of time with family and friends who don't live here all the year round. And so some places that are nearby, you can go to Las Vegas, you can go to Southern California, or even San Francisco. There's so much to do around here. There's the Grand Canyon. There are a ton of national parks and cool places to go hiking when it is, you know, a cooler day. You do have to go earlier in the morning when it starts to warm up because it gets really, really hot. But there's a lot of nature stuff to do. And it's also really cheap to fly from here to a lot of places in North America. I've noticed the prices are so much lower than when I was in Vancouver trying to fly to go other places. Most domestic flights I've taken from here are like $200 or less, which is awesome. All right, on to the next, and this is very important for me because I'm vegan, and it is that there's amazing and abundant fresh produce everywhere. Oranges growing on the trees here, lots of citrus. There's grapefruit, lemons, limes, and pomegranates, lots of pomegranate trees. I've seen date trees, I've seen fig trees, and the price of the fruits and vegetables, primarily probably because of that, are actually really affordable as well, which is awesome. And it's just nice because it's fresh. It hasn't been shipped from miles and miles away. It's literally growing right where you live. And I just absolutely love that. All right, speaking of food, the restaurants here are amazing. And this is something that was kind of like a perk. I find that the prices are incredible. Again, I was living in Vancouver, which was very, very expensive. Like, Vancouver is known for just everything, for some reason, costs a lot more there. So coming here to Arizona, it's like a treat that you can go out for like an amazing meal at a fraction of a price. And also all the food that we've tried, like I've had a lot of family and friends come here, and I feel like no matter what restaurant we end up trying, people are always pleased with the food. And honestly, I've tried a lot of different places. A lot of them are vegan friendly. And I just find that Scottsdale and Phoenix primarily have a huge abundance of amazing restaurants, just unique spots that are just cozy and have cool ambiance and a really nice vibe and delicious food. And so that's something that I really enjoy. I mean, we mostly do those types of things when I have family and friends come visit, because that's just something that we kind of go and explore those areas and try new restaurants. There are so many other positive things about living in Arizona, but primarily it has to do with just the outdoor lifestyle, the sunshine, just to be able to sit outside on a patio and eat your meal under the stars, or when the sun is setting or the sun is rising, and just, to experience the outdoors. I love to be outside. I love to walk, and it's just nice to feel comfortable, not freezing cold. All right, so now I'm going to talk about the cons of living in Arizona. And the biggest one really is the heat. The sun is beautiful. It's amazing to see sunshine every day. But the next level heat, the 110 degrees at night for a few days in the summer even, it's too much. I've always loved the sunshine. I've always loved warmth and summertime, and I thought I knew what to expect. I thought, because everyone warned me, everyone just said, wait till it gets to July, wait till it gets to August, wait till it's October and it still feels like the middle of summer and it hasn't really cooled down very much. And it's true. I kept being like, no, it'll be fine. I love the heat. Oh, I'll just be outside. No. I was not outside last summer. I was inside. I was trying anything to cool down, wanting to jump into the freezer because it was just so hot. So when people say it's hot, as someone who loves the heat and the sun, trust me, it really is just too hot. And so that is the time to go away. That is the time where if you have family in Canada, go stay with them. Or if you want to go travel Europe, or you want to do anything but be outside in Arizona, that is the time to do that. And there is another option. Phoenix tends to be the hottest out of all of them. I don't know why. Something geographically just makes all of the sunshine and heat go there in the summer. And so if you want to drive up to Flagstaff or, other towns nearby that are not too far of a drive, I think 2 hours maybe, or maybe even a little bit less, it's a lot cooler. We went there when we had family visiting last year in August, and we drove up to Flagstaff, and literally it was like 40 degrees cooler. We actually felt like it started raining a little bit too, and we were like, how is this the same day? Whereas this morning it was roasting hot in Phoenix. So yeah, it's a big difference. If you're willing to drive north and drive up to a higher elevation, it definitely cools down. So that's another option in the summer. And another thing that I put on my cons list, which may or may not affect you, is international travel is trickier. And this is something that I realized when we were booking our flight to Thailand. Because Vancouver, where I used to live, was on the water and I guess more of a hub city, there were so many more direct flights to other countries in the world. Whereas with Phoenix, yes, it's an international airport, but anywhere that you want to go pretty much overseas is you have to fly to New York first, or you have to fly to LA or San Francisco first. So it can make your trip a little bit longer, and in some cases a little bit more expensive. So if you're someone who does like to travel to Asia often or travel to Europe often, that may affect you just with flight availability, flight cost, and the flight time, because you have to do that extra stop. All right, so I hope this video was helpful for you. All in all, yes, I love living in Arizona. People ask Alex and I, do we think we're gonna stay here forever? And honestly, this might sound cheesy, but we're happy together. Our life is just our life together, and we're happy being together. So, we also considered moving to Florida, but we just chose Arizona because we just kind of had a bit more things that we thought we would like about living here than in Florida. We like Arizona, but we could be happy in a lot of other places as well. So, we just went to Thailand. I love Thailand. I've loved it since the first time I went. Alex completely fell in love with Thailand, and we spend many of our nights watching Thailand vlogs and, people who packed up their life and moved to Thailand, because that is something that is also very interesting to us, and we are considering doing that. Well, it's a thought in our minds, maybe for the future. But I think Arizona makes a great base, And I love the idea of spending like 3 or 4 months, those really hot months, traveling or, you know, living somewhere else for part of the year. That's my dream life. That would be ideal. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go drink my smoothie because I just chatted this whole video and didn't really have any of it. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you're not yet following me, be sure to click subscribe to become a part of my YouTube family. And you can find me on Instagram at MelissaAlexandria01. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.